Can somebody please turn down the music?
I know, it's so loud. Gosh.
Did you ever hear that from me once when you were growing up? Like, ever?
Maybe like if it were dark and we were going somewhere new, but I don't have like a specific memory of it. For myself, I do.
I was going to say, I think it's more like everyone else telling me to turn the music down because, haha. Welcome, everybody. This is Michelle with Moksha Grace Coaching, and you are here for a moment of presence. And I am joined today, every day, by my beautiful and delightful, wonderful co host in all things in life, Krista Barone.
Hi, everybody. I'm Krista Brown. I am a fractional COO with my company, Wicked Wisdom Consulting, and I help business owners get back to doing what they love and living their purpose by taking all of the operational things that they don't like to do off their plate. And speaking of operations, do not mind me for the first minute or two while I look to my right, because I'm going to be sharing this into your Facebook group. So I am paying attention, but I will be looking to the side for a second.
Well, thank you. While I tell everybody what we're talking about today.
Perfect.
So we're talking about when the music is so loud. And of course, we're using that as an analogy to when the voices in your head, which is actually a song that I really love, but when the voices are so loud that you can't hear your heart actually telling you and guiding you, you can't hear spirit, the divine, the universe, whatever flavor you float your boat. You can't hear anything over the inner critic, the saboteur, the inner child having a temper tantrum because they're not getting their way. You just can't hear past the noise that comes into our mind on a daily basis, a minute basis, that just plays over and over and over again. And I will share, I've been dealing with the same repeat pattern of thought in my head the last couple of weeks. And I have been working on quieting that. And I was able to make a bit of a breakthrough by listening today. And that is bringing yourself into the moment and allowing the voices to be heard, because you got to get that out of the way first. And then you can start to bring in the voices you actually want to hear and allow them to speak to you and give you the guidance that you need. So, why don't we jump into some breathing so we can bring ourselves into this moment? We'll do 3. I want to say quick breaths, but they're not quick. They're, inhale, exhale. We're going to exhale real slow. But just listen to my voice as I guide you and just allow those voices, ask, what do I need to hear right now? Okay. So big, deep breath in and just be thinking, what am I not hearing? What do I need to hear? And then slowly exhale. And then a big deep breath in as you continue to listen. What is the message that you're trying to give yourself? Your heart is trying to give you. And slow exhale. Put your hands on your heart for this one. And just think to yourself, I'm listening. What do you have to say to me? Big deep breath in. And hold it. And then a slow exhale. If you do this every day, you get better and better and better at it. And I see we have some people here. So if you would kindly let us know who you are, put your name in the comment section. Just let us know who's here, because with all the different platforms, it doesn't always tell us exactly who you are. So if you do make comments, we don't know. And tell us where you're listening from. Where are you right now? So yes, when it gets too loud, what do you do when the chatter just gets so loud?
I do a lot of things. I have to do a lot of things.
Mhm.
Like right now, I'm thinking about the fact that for some reason this isn't streaming on the Moksha Grace Facebook. So if you're seeing this on YouTube, fantastic. And if you're in the Calm the Chaos group, you should be seeing this too. But yeah, so I'm gonna avoid obsessively thinking about the fact that some of the channels failed before we went live, but that's okay because I'm going to redirect my thoughts.
And yeah, and redirecting
Mhm.
is not always easy. It's challenging
No.
because our
Well, here's the thing. It's easy, but it requires diligence
Mhm.
and it's somewhat of a constant thing that you have to do. So it's really it's easy, but it's time consuming.
Yeah. Well, and I know someone who will say it's as easy as breathing, as most things are, but in our head we make it much harder and much more challenging.
Well, I
And
don't know that I would agree that it's as easy as breathing because breathing is an unconscious, your body takes care of it for you. This is something that you have to actively, at least to get into the habit of it,
yes,
you have
it's
to actively work at it.
once you're in the habit, then you can distract yourself.
Hmm.
Uh, and it's interesting. I was listening to Abraham Hicks yesterday, and there's so many different things out there and beliefs that you can follow. And, they tell you, no, distract yourself from the bad thoughts.
Right.
And I think that that's good as long as you don't overuse that and do it to sequester the thoughts forever and like put them away, lock the door, and
Hmm.
don't let them ever, don't let them
Yeah.
out. But I think that in the moment, there are times where it's not the time to embrace the critic. It's
Hmm.
not that, you have to get through a talk, you're going on stage or you're going live or you're about to go into a meeting. And so those are the times when you do need to distract yourself with something that raises your vibration, raises your energy that you're giving out.
Hmm.
And that's when you can focus on what you really want
Yeah.
versus what's sitting in front of you.
Yeah. And I think we're talking a little bit about two different things. You're talking more about the distraction method. I'm talking more about redirection in the sense of, let's say I am worried about money. Or
Mhm.
a perfect example, a lot of people are small business owners now. If I'm worried about money coming in or getting a new client, you train yourself to be in the habit of that thought comes up, and instead of running with it and then getting sucked into the repetitive mindset of, oh my god, where am I going to find a new client, how am I going to pay my bills this month,
Mhm.
cut yourself off and you think a better thought, which could look like something, or could look something like, what is the next right thing for me to do right now?
Yeah.
What is the one thing that I can do right now
Mhm.
that will set me up to have a more, prosperous month or find a new client, whatever? What is one thing I can do right now? Shift to that, and now you're in that activity, and so in a way you are distracted, but you're redirecting that thought. So
Mhm.
now every time that comes up, you're redirecting.
Yeah.
Or if you have constant self-loathing thoughts of, oh my god, I'm so ugly. Oh wait, no, you know what? I am really beautiful. And at
Mhm.
first, there's that contrast of like you don't totally believe it, but if you tell yourself enough, you do
Right.
start to believe it. So it kind of feels a little silly at first, but
Mhm.
your mind doesn't know the difference. And so by doing that redirection, even though it feels a little forced at first, it's going to start feeling natural.
Yeah. I remember when I was first told about that method, and it was about getting on the scale every day.
Hmm.
And it was,
Another huge one.
and yes, I still do get on the scale every day. However, I do it and I smile or I wink to myself. I don't do it in a self-loathing thing. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. That's where I'm at. Now, what do I want to do? And it's like, I don't, well, anyway. So anywho, we won't get into that. But I like to know. I like to check in. It's like when you get in your car and you want to know where your gas is, so you know if you have to stop to get gas or if you're good. And so that's why I do it. A lot of people do it for other reasons, but that's where I do it. I just like to check in.
feel
And
like we're noticing where there's a little bit of justification you're feeling you need for yourself, and maybe something to explore when you're doing a little shadow work, but we'll leave it there.
No, well, to me it makes sense because I get on the scale and I'm like, oh, I can have my ice cream sundae tonight. Or
You know what this
maybe not.
reminds me of? That line in Eat, Pray, Love, where they're eating Sicilian pizzas or
Oh,
eating pizza
I
in
love
Sicily,
that
and she
scene.
goes and she's talking about, or is it then, or maybe earlier in the movie before she leaves, and she says, I'm counting every single thing I ate that day, so I know how much self-loathing to take into the shower.
Yeah. See, I don't, but that's not even a part of what I do. But yes, I do get that a lot of people do that. And
Mhm.
that's where I used to be,
Yeah.
but that's not where I am now.
Yeah.
Because I've
Experience
been
growth
able,
with
exactly. I've been able to pull that self-critic out of it and look. And I think that how you do anything is how you do everything. So if you're doing it from a place of love, or if you're doing it as a check-in versus, well, let's see where I'm at today,
Right.
there's a different energy that goes with that. And
Mhm.
that's everything. So
Yeah.
that goes to the money thing. You should be looking at your bank account.
Mhm.
How many people, when they don't have money, don't look at their bank account because it scares the shit out of them?
Right.
They don't want to know.
Right.
Well, if I don't know, then it won't hurt me. Well, yeah, it is going to hurt you. Okay, so in the old days, people used to rectify their bank accounts, right? You used to sit down with your bank book and your checks, and
Mhm.
you used to add and make sure that everything came in, everything was paid, what's happening. We don't do that anymore because everything is on auto pay. Well,
Mhm.
here's a big lesson. You still have to rectify your account, and you still have to pay attention, and you still have to look.
Yep.
Case in point, I did that last week for the first time in probably a year because there was a charge since June of 23, so almost a full year, of like $19. Have no idea what it's for, something from Ireland. And I was able to call the bank, and even the lady and she was so nice about it, but she goes, I have to ask you, how did you not notice this before? How did you not catch this? And I started laughing, and I was like, that was a really nice way to say, what the hell are you doing?
You know,
But
well, go ahead,
no,
finish.
finish.
This is a really interesting example of how
Mm-hmm.
our minds work as well.
Mm-hmm.
You and I were just having this conversation yesterday of it's very easy for us
Mm-hmm.
to not notice when we're having destructive thoughts because they are so habitual. We
Mm-hmm.
don't even notice it. And sometimes it can be very helpful to have somebody close to you call you out on it and go, wait, that right there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's one of them. Oh, wait, did you realize what you just said? Because, and this is something that I talk to my clients about all the time is when you're in the middle of something, it
Right.
can be very hard to notice the environment and notice the situation for what it truly is. So if you're already in that habitual thought pattern of thinking things like, oh God, I don't know how I'm going to pay my bills. Or oh God, I look so gross today. Oh, my hair is a mess. Whatever the negative thought train
Right.
is, your mind is very sneaky and it wants you to stay where you
Mhm.
are. And so it'll come up with really sneaky ways to constantly be reinforcing that negative belief until you get in the habit of replacing them with positive ones.
That would be the self-sabotaging pattern that a lot of people deal with.
Mm-hmm. And even when you are in a positive, you start getting yourself in that positive mindset track,
Mm-hmm.
that negative mindset is still going to be the more comfortable place for you.
Of course, especially if you've done it your whole life.
Right. Which is why your mind will get even more creative until you're comfortable with that next level of positivity. So it does take a little bit of time, but if you can stay consistent with it,
Yeah.
that's where the real magic happens. And a lot of times, sometimes you can't do it on your own, and you need someone that's going to help you stay on track.
Yeah. Well, perfect segue, because a lot of times what I have to do with clients is talk them down from trying and berating themselves for not being able to get out of, let's say, depression
Mhm,
or self-loathing,
mhm,
and go into I'm beautiful.
mhm.
And can we just go with, huh, I'm pretty,
Yeah.
or I feel good today.
Mhm.
I look nice today.
Yeah.
And do it in baby steps,
Right.
because some people go too high
Right.
and then berate themselves when they don't get there, when they
Yeah.
can't reach. The gap was too big.
Yeah. And this is something that we've talked about over the last few weeks is
Hmm.
mindset, mindfulness, spirituality, awareness. It is such a personal experience.
Yeah.
What works for me is not going to work for you. What works for you is not going to work for me. What works for us may not work for somebody else. It's about
Hmm.
trying different things and seeing what does work for you.
Right.
Um, and I want to circle back to asking for help when you need it. A perfect example of this is I had started working with a coach a few years back, and it was a program of a certain length, and I saw great, unbelievable progress in that. It was 9 or 10, maybe 12 weeks long, working one on one with them. But once that stopped,
Hmm.
I fell out of the habits of what I was doing,
Right.
and I went back to my old ways.
Right.
Now this time, I am trying a bunch of different things and seeing what sticks for myself. And I have some people around me who are coaches, and we
Hold you
try
accountable.
right that hold me accountable to it. Um, but it's something that we also talk regularly. I'm not doing a program, a short term, certain amount of length program. We're working together constantly, weekly. We have like an official check-in, but it's a constant thing.
Hmm.
And that's really, really helpful when whether you're just starting out or you've been doing this for a long time and nothing's really stuck yet.
Hmm.
That's really, really helpful
Yeah. Yeah.
because you need that.
Yes, you need that. And also remember that just because something worked or didn't work right now
Mhm.
doesn't mean that it's not going to work or not work later.
Yes.
I come and go from listening to Abraham Hicks or Tony Robbins or Jack Canfield. I go through the gamut
Yeah.
of who do I resonate with right now? What is it that is speaking to my heart? And I do that with my meditations too.
Mhm.
Sometimes I'll do guided, sometimes I'll just listen to music. But
Mhm.
even with the guided, some teachers I resonate with right now, and some will annoy me right now, but I'll love them later.
Yeah.
So I think it's all about, again, listening from within. And
Mhm.
if all of the noise is going on, you may not even sit down to meditate because you're so focused on all the other things that you have to do. And I don't have time for this. But that's the exact time that you actually need it the most.
Yeah.
And that goes back to the money thing.
Yeah.
When you're going, I don't want to look at my bank account, that's when you need to do it the most.
Correct. Correct. I that is and that actually is a practice that I have put full force into my own life is when I start feeling really stressed,
Mm-hmm.
I force myself to log in. And you
Yeah.
know what's crazy?
Yeah.
Those are the times when it's not nearly what I think my, balance is.
Right.
It's I log in, I go,
Never is
"Oh,
worse. Oh,
oh, great. That's so much better than I thought."
right.
If it's like, more of a downtrodden time. Um, and to the point of looking for someone to help you along your journey, it's really important to also, if you are going to have an accountability buddy or you're looking to work with a coach, you need to make sure that you find the right person to fit who you are. And if you are a person who um, wants to flex and flow and change things up as it fits for you, you need to find someone that's going to match that.
Yeah.
'Cause, for example, a coach I've worked with in the past, when we first started, I got a whole lecture about how affirmations were so silly, and she couldn't even understand why anyone even did that. It's such a waste of time. How, whatever. I love affirmations, and they're incredibly beneficial for me.
Right. And
Because
I
they
love
work
them too.
for
Yeah.
me.
Right.
They may not work for everybody.
Yeah.
But they work for me. So you really want to make sure that you're working with the right person who's not just going to enroll you in new dogma that's going to confuse you more.
Or in their dogma.
Right, exactly. Because here's the thing. You know me, I've been meditating since I was a teenager. Like I am one of the biggest meditation buffs there is.
Right.
I'll be honest with you, the last month and a half, I've maybe meditated once or twice. Why? Because I've shifted into trying new strategies that I've seen work better for me. So instead of formally sitting down and meditating, I'm waking up each morning, immediately going outside, standing in the grass, and being thankful for the day, grounding my energy. It's not an official meditation, but it grounds my energy. I'm taking the time to step away from my desk and step outside and let the sun, shine on me. Is it officially a meditation? No. But those two things together ground me and get me more in the energy that I need than meditation right now.
I'm going to challenge you on that, though.
Mm-hmm.
Because as you said, that's not an official meditation. By whose freaking standards?
You make a great point. Point.
That bothers me so much when clients or anybody will say, oh, but I don't know how to meditate. But then they say that they sit down and they do devotions or they pray. You are meditating.
Yeah.
They go outside and lay in the grass. You're meditating. You take a walk and you just listen to the sounds in nature. Guess what? You're meditating. Yeah. You're in the shower and the thoughts are flying like electricity and a really bad lightning storm.
Yeah.
That's also a unconventional, but it is also a very active meditation. You are allowing the thoughts to come up and you're releasing them. It's actually really good. And the only tweak is imagine them as they come up, you acknowledge them, and then they wash down the drain.
And see, folks, this is exactly why it's really beneficial to have a coach, so that when you have these conversations, they can help you point out your wins. Because guess what? Your wins are what are going to fuel you to keep going. Absolutely. And perfect example. Congratulations. You just witnessed the live coaching session. Because guess what? A coaching session also doesn't have to be an hour where you both are sitting on Zoom, staring at each other, having a conversation. Sometimes you just need are you doing your stuff we talked about? No? Okay, well, go do them. Report back.
And a lot of times most times it's a perspective shift.
Right.
I remember talking to somebody and they were like, oh, and and this person and and he did this and he did that and he did this. And I was like, okay, I hear you. Is it possible that it came from this or it was being done for this purpose?
Right.
And then it was, oh, I never thought about it like that.
Right.
And so that's a lot of times, again, why coaching and have somebody to bounce it off of is so good.
Yeah.
Because we go back to the noise and the music being so loud. When we're in that spin or that case of being frazzled, sometimes we can't stop the spin.
Yeah.
Remember being on the merry-go-round or swing and you're going really, really, really high, but you really want to get off because you just want to get off right that minute.
Or the Disney teacups.
Or the Disney teacups. But you have to let it come down to a stop, to a quiet, to a stillness, to a being, to a moment of presence, so that you can allow the internal guidance system, thank you, Abraham Hicks, to actually, you can hear it go, take a right.
Yeah.
Make a left.
Yeah. Well, and here's the other thing too, is it is impossible as a human being, the world that we live in, I don't care who you are. It is impossible to stay enlightened in a positive mood 24/7, 365 days a year for your entire life. That's impossible. And typically, when something happens or we aren't being mindful of our mind and we slip into old habits and patterns, we literally forget the strategies we use to get us out of that.
Yeah.
And so either we have to hold ourselves accountable of remembering those strategies, or we need someone that's going to go, okay, well, are you doing this, this, and this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, let's start there. Let's
Right.
check back in a couple days, see where
Yeah.
you're at, and if we need to work through a perspective shift or whatever it is, then we can do that. But you need someone that's going to pull you up from the trenches and remind you of what you need to do. Because I know when I'm in a really low place, there's even times where I actively think about strategies that I need to be implementing, and I go, what? It's not. Whatever. I'm not.
Right.
Gonna, I don't have time. I'm just not even. Whatever. They're stupid. They're
Right.
because I'm in that mind space.
Right. And I want to go to Tia's comment because this is perfect. I'm sorry that you're feeling anxious, Tia. However, what I want to remind you is, what is anxiety? What is anxiety? Anxiety is worrying about the future. It's fear. What's fear? False evidence appearing real. You're amazing at what you do. You know you're amazing at what you do. You've got this. Breathe, relax, do the things that we've talked about, and we've talked about lots of different techniques, but do the ones that you can hear right now. Whether, and especially for anxiety, what are the best questions to ask yourself for anxiety? Get curious. Am I safe?
Mm-hmm.
What do I see around me?
Mm-hmm.
What do I smell? And maybe in a classroom that's not a good thing, but use your senses. What do I feel? What am I sitting on?
Mm-hmm.
You know, am I steady? Take some deep breaths, slow deep breaths, and just calm your nervous system. Those are the best things to do when you're feeling anxious, is just to bring your nervous system down.
Mm-hmm.
And then allow the inner, that smart inner higher self talk to you and tell you that you're fine. You have this. And just relax. Now, a lot of times when someone's having an anxiety attack, the worst thing to say is, "Oh, just relax." It's a different relax than relax. Take a deep breath.
The best thing to do when someone's having a panic attack is to go. Like you said, bring everything you just said was about bringing into the present moment.
Mm-hmm.
When someone's having a panic attack, you don't want to ask them, what's bothering you? All of those things. It's going to reignite and continually bring up those feelings.
Mm-hmm.
The thing to do would be, if you're outside, what color is the sky? What color is the grass? Look at that bird over there.
Mm-hmm.
What color did you paint your toes the other day? What was the last thing you bought on Amazon?
Yeah.
Where do birds live? Anything but what is going on in their mind.
Right. Right. And that's when shiny object syndrome actually is a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's actually a good thing. And reminding yourself, okay, in this situation, you're feeling anxious, but why are you doing what you're doing? Because it's going to look good on your resume. You're taking control. So actually, you chose something that's going to give you a leg up based on what you want to do for your future. So you're actually in control.
Mm-hmm.
You chose this. And a lot of times, and this was something that was told to me a long time ago, and in healthcare, I had to do every 2 weeks, I had to get up and I would do new employee orientation. And I loved it. And I did it for 10 years, every 2 weeks, 10 years. I would get nervous. And it's crazy because I could say it all in my sleep.
Probably still to this day.
Probably still to this day. And the best thing that someone told me was, when you feel some of that anxiety and the flutters and you feel nervous, it's actually good, because it means that you care about what you're doing,
Yeah.
that there's a purpose to it, and that you're hoping that it's going to come out really good. Hey, Raymond. And so it's actually a good thing to be a little nervous and anxious, because it shows you care.
Yeah.
The time to worry is when you just are flying by the seat of your pants and you just don't give a flying you know what. That's
You know what though?
you need to
Not
work.
necessarily.
Well,
Not necessarily.
why? Because then you know the information so well that you just get up there because you're a pro.
I mean, if anything, that tells me that you are so rooted in who you are and comfortable with who you are.
Okay.
That,
Yes. Okay.
you know,
Good
so
point.
I think it really depends on the person and
Yeah.
who you're talking about.
Right.
And yeah, there could be positives and negatives to both, and I think it's about really honing in on the experience
Mm-hmm.
and determining what it really means for you.
And that goes back to a little bit of what we were talking about yesterday, of being duality and two sides of the stick. And
Right.
you can either, and there's happy anxiety, right? Excitement.
Mm-hmm.
And so then you can ask yourself, again, with the noise being so loud, quiet, am I anxious or am I excited of what this might mean for the future? And that's a difference too.
I'm gonna make it even shorter. Am I anxious or am I actually excited?
Yeah, that's
The
it.
first time someone said that to me, my mind literally exploded out of the top of my head. Because I was like, holy moly, you just changed the freaking game.
Mm-hmm.
Because
How many?
Okay.
No, I was going to say, how many of you have been anxious and then realized that you were actually really excited?
Perfect example. The last time you went on a date, beforehand, were you nervous or were you overly excited?
Are you asking me?
No, I'm just saying in general.
Oh, okay, because it's been a minute.
It's been a very long time. Yes, I gotcha.
It's been a minute.
But no, the date is a perfect example because it's something that at least everyone can, unless you don't date, which that's, you know, do your thing. But most people can relate to that example. Or the day before starting. What?
A job interview.
Or I was gonna say the day before a job interview. I could see as being nervous, but starting the first day of a job that you've been waiting for forever, for years. It's the perfect dream job for you. That probably fall more into the excitement category.
Yeah. I agree absolutely with that, Raymond. Personality and passion for what you do. And that's the truth. And if the noise quiets, you can hear your intuition, and you can say, okay, is this the right role for me? I was just talking to somebody about this, because if you're taking a job to just take the job because you're desperate, you're going to be miserable when you wake up. You're going to dread going to work. So if you're doing it just to leave a position where you're already hating it or not enjoying it, don't take that position. Try to fix what's going on here, meaning work on yourself and what you can change, like perspective shifts. And then when you feel better, then take that leap into the next right position. Because how many people create this pattern, and we talked about hamster wheels last week, but how many people do that, where they just go round and round, jumping from job to job because they don't listen from within of what they really want to do.
And that also applies, again, back to dating too. I had a coach one time say to me, before you start a new online dating profile, delete what you have now and do not make a new one until you are in the right energy, and do not sign on until you are in the right energy. Because what kind of men are you going to attract if every time you sign on, you are looking for validation, or you're you're bored, or any of these feelings that aren't excitement about meeting someone new,
Right.
stay off, because it's not going to be the right energy to attract what you want.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna say that goes with any social media, not just the
Absolutely.
dating app. I mean, if you're going on Facebook because you're depressed and you start looking at things that align with your energy of depression or sadness or anger or what's going on in the world, the algorithm of Facebook is then going to start showing you, or any social media is going to start then showing you more
Mhm.
of what annoyed you.
Yeah.
But if you go on and you go, surprise and delight me, and you see something that is an uplifting quote,
Hmm.
like it.
Yeah.
You see another uplifting quote, or you see something that resonates with you, like it,
Hmm.
heart it, whatever. Then the algorithms pick up that, and then you see more of that.
I'm going to take it even further. There's a great Tony Robbins exercise that I'm sure he does all the time. I just happened to see it the other day on a podcast he was a guest on. Everybody, wherever you are right now,
Yes.
look around you and look at everything that's green. Look around. I've got a plant right here that's green. Got a picture over here with some green in it.
The Google
I've got
circle
a
has green.
feather from my parrot that's green. The top of my notepad is green. Okay, everyone saw green. Something green. At least, okay, you saw Yoda. Beautiful. Don't look anywhere else. Look at us. How many things did you notice that were red?
None.
None. Why? Because you were focused on the green.
Yeah.
So yes, training the algorithm on social media is a fantastic first step.
Mm-hmm.
When you're ready to take it even farther, of doing these things that we're talking about today, of focusing your mindset on the more positive things, because
Right.
then you are going to primarily only notice those positive things.
Right.
And that's really circling us beautifully right back to the topic of today.
Absolutely.
Because what you focus on is what you're going to see more of.
Yeah.
And there's an amazing quote that says, the world you, or what is it? Hold on. It's like the world you experience. Basically, the premise is a depressed person and a super positive person are both experiencing the same world. They're just looking at it from a different lens.
Absolutely. And I'm gonna say we've experienced that as a family, as people, because during the lockdown when everybody was bitching and complaining, we were having a good old time.
We were having some of our busiest work time.
Yeah, because we weren't focusing on the shit show. We just weren't.
Yeah.
It was going on, it was all around us, it was swirling, and we just grounded ourselves in what can we do now, and focused on that. And what you focus on grows.
Yeah.
And expands. And so you have to decide. The first thing to do is decide what side of the stick do you want to be on, and then you have to take a look at where you are and what is it going to take to now tip me to the other side. And once you do that, and a big part of it is you ain't going to hear anything if you're listening to the voices in your head. It's the voices in your heart, the ones that are whispering those sweet nothings to you. Those are the ones that are going to take you to the other side, to the side you want to be on.
Yeah. And here's the thing, you don't have to be some really profound guru to do this.
Yeah.
Because if any of you know our story in particular, when I was first diagnosed with cancer as a kid, if my father, your husband, had not set the precedence of go home and cry, get it out of the way, because we're not going to have that here.
Right.
Who knows what the outcome would have been?
Right.
Because by saying that and setting that boundary, when anyone saw me, when anyone was around me, the only thing that I knew, and I have clear as day memories, the only thing that I knew from the people around me was that everyone was really happy to see me. I was always treated really well. If I didn't feel good, there were people that were going to take care of me and make me feel better. You know, it was all positive.
Mm-hmm.
And that led to a really positive, beautiful, healthy outcome.
Yeah.
So even as a 3-year-old,
Right.
we could argue that by focusing on the positives, which yes was facilitated by the people around me, as a coach, the equivalent, or as an adult, the equivalent would be potentially having a coach. I was able to focus on that positive and survive.
Yeah. And I will say for those of you listening, listen, it wasn't all just fun and games. There were a lot of fun and games. All Krista knew was that it was fun and games.
Right.
After she would go to sleep, I would go in the shower and I would cry my eyes out, or I would freak out and have a what do the kids say? A mentee bee?
Mentee bee.
I'd have a mentee bee. And the nurses, the staff, they had my back. They knew when I needed a walk.
You had a support system.
I had a support system. They knew when I needed to take a break. They knew when I needed to go have a meal with my husband down in the cafeteria, and they would keep Krista busy, take her to the playroom or what have you. There was a support system, and so did the family. I'm not going to say that family and friends did. They were outrageously helpful. But in those darkest hours, I had to do what I had to do away from her so it didn't impact the environment that we had created. And evidently I did it well because she doesn't remember much of it.
Well, and here's the thing, you obviously, because I've always been a sponge for energy,
right.
And this is a perfect example of, this is not about refusing to allow yourself to feel your feelings either.
Right.
You're getting in the habit of positive thoughts so that that's your dominant state. But you do absolutely have to allow yourself those moments. If you need a good cry, if you need to break down, if you need to I used to call it emotionally cutting myself if I needed to, because I know I really needed to cry. So I would do whatever I needed to do mentally to get myself into that state. But it worked, because then afterwards I felt great, which I don't necessarily recommend. But you are going to have those moments and you have to allow them too. Yeah. It's about creating a dominant place for yourself of being a positive train of thoughts, focused on the positive things, because dwelling in that negativity is not going to help you at all.
No,
it's not.
No, it isn't. And if you like when I was saying that, I went through something last week, I could feel it rising, and I knew that I needed to release it. I knew that I needed to have something be the catalyst to tip me over the edge.
Right.
And as a kid, it used to be the song The Rose, or Torn Between Two Love, like all the saddest love songs ever. I would play them and I would just cry, but I cried it out. And those deep cries where you feel like you were ran over by a train, like backed over and run over again and again. And we need those. We have to allow those. There's a whole book about when you don't allow it.
Highly recommend the book, by the way.
Yeah, highly recommend that book. And now I'm out of focus. Yeah, highly recommend the book, because it does talk about why you're feeling the way you're feeling physically, and what to get curious about, what emotions or what feelings or what circumstances may be contributing to the way that you're feeling. It's an amazing book, because you look at the health aspect, the physicality of your body. What is your body trying to tell you?
Yeah.
And it's amazing. But yeah, those emotional purging, it has to happen. Yes, happy anxiety, being excited, all of it has to happen in order for because guess what? This is what's living. This is living. If we were always happy and nothing else, that's not living. We're actually here to experience the ups and the downs, the roller coaster ride. And I know once I go on a roller coaster, once I get in line, I'm anxious, I'm nervous, I'm excited, I'm like kind of fearful. And then I get on and I go on the roller coaster and we spin upside down and whips you around. And then I get off and I'm like, I want to go again. I want to do that again.
Yep.
And that's life. That's life. It's just a roller coaster ride, people. That's it. And we just have to hold on, tighten up the straps, and just keep your hands and feet in the cart and just go.
That's life.
And in those moments, and we rode Guardians of the Galaxy, in those moments, to bring us back to a full circle, those are the moments when the music's really loud. You just listen to the music and you just enjoy the ride.
Because now the music is fun.
Because now the music is fun. Right.
It's enjoyable.
It's not those annoying voices.
No.
Well,
nails on a chalkboard.
Yeah, exactly. I want to thank everybody that joined us today. And this was such a great conversation. And hey, Keith, how are you? Tia, you do amazing today with your project that you're doing. And Raymond, thank you so much for always being here. And everyone else that's here that we can't see because we haven't seen you in the comments yet. If you have any questions, we always check the comments. And if you ever want to talk deeper, go over to Calm the Chaos, join the group. You can ask questions. I'm in there. I'm active. You just gotta engage and, say something.
And when you're ready to get started with a coach, you can find Michelle at mokshagrace.com/coaching, where you can book a free compatibility call, where you guys will talk about what's going on in your life, if working together is a fit. And what I love about what you do too is you don't just offer a program, you offer ongoing coaching support. So there's a lot of different packages and payment, prices and stuff that you offer to make it very affordable and achievable for everybody, which is really amazing because so many coaches and coaching companies, it's a program that you have to join with a bunch of people and a group call, and it can be a lot and too much, and a lot of people don't necessarily want to talk about what's going on in their life with a group of people. So I really, really love that's the direction that you decided to go in, and that I've helped you put that together, because it just everyone can benefit from a coach, even if their life is going well. It's somebody to help you keep going in that direction. And if you need help to change the direction that your life is going in, that's what a coach is for.
Yeah.
So,
and there's 5 more days in April. And what I was doing is, if people have never worked with a coach, and some people can get really nervous about that. Is it therapy? Is it support group? Are we going to be like, my name's Michelle and I'm, I'm
a chronic negative thinker.
That's not what this is. And so I'm offering 90-minute sessions, a trial, just book a call. It's it's the March special. Oh, there it is. mokshagrace.com March special. It's April now, but it was my birthday and I can do what I want. So I extended it. I extended it to April. So all you have to do is just book a call, and it will not be anything but a actual coaching call. And we will go through a topic of your choosing, and we will dive into that. And then I will have a check-in call with you to make sure that you implemented or how it went, how you're going, because that's important to me. That's really, really important to me. A lot of people will do those workshops on the weekends. Oh my goodness. They have these massive aha moments and it's like, wow, that was amazing. And they're so motivated. And then a week later, they churned up all of this emotional baggage. And then they're like, oh shoot, what do I do with all this?
Yeah. Or they just forget it all completely because you lose the motivation and inspiration. And that's something we didn't even touch on today, but that really is a complete other massive benefit of working with a coach is we have to have constant inspiration and motivation. We have to have something that's going to keep us going.
Yeah.
And that's a lot also of what a coach will do.
I'm going to put you on the spot.
Sure.
What's your inspiration? What keeps you going?
It used to be that I really loved shopping, but now I'm really focusing more on just taking care of. I really enjoy being able to take care of and spoil all of the wonderful beings that are around me, whether it's humans in my family or my beloved animals that I have probably way too many of. So those are my inspiration right now. What about you?
My inspiration is the aha moments.
Okay.
Family, friends, clients, anyone that I talk to, anyone that we impact by doing these podcasts that we've now called an actual podcast. Uh, Anytime anyone can have an aha moment or shift their perspective, that to me is being in service.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all I want, is to be that advocate for the person inside of you that is crying to get out.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. Family, friends, anybody I come across like that, and animals. That's what I want to do. That's all I want to do. So that's my motivation. That's my inspiration.
I love that. Yeah, and I was thinking more just from a personal perspective, but even what I said, not the animal part, but taking care of people is really important to me, and supporting people that I believe in is really important to me, which is why what I do is so rewarding for me. Sheer tenacity and love. Yeah, honestly, yeah. And that's actually, Raymond, that's a perfect way to even say what I'm trying to say now, is that's the same for me. In doing what I do as a fractional COO, I'm really, really able to help people massively, especially small businesses. I'm a super supporter of small businesses, and being able to support other people in living their dreams is so rewarding. And I get to do the stuff that they don't like doing, but it's the stuff that I love doing. So it's such a perfect win-win situation. And what are you doing?
I don't know. I was playing.
Come on, man. I'm having this great in-depth, heartfelt conversation, and you stick me in the corner?
Nobody puts baby in the corner.
How rude. But anyway, yeah, it's really wonderful to do what I do and be able to support people. And yeah, so if anyone wants to find me, wickedwisdomconsulting.com. I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, or not Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, all that good stuff.
And you know what I love about the tenacity piece? You are tenacious. Like, I'm tenacious, you're really tenacious. It's definitely genetic, but got stronger because
that's because it's combined with my dad's genes.
And the high D, yeah.
For people who don't know what that is, that's from the disc profile. Just to be clear, I just want to make that distinction.
Yeah, I guess it could be taken wrong.
Yeah, think about that.
Yeah, and thank you, Keith, for that shout out. We love you so much, all of you. But yeah, I think that it's the tenacity to find solutions for others that are struggling or they don't have enough time on their hands to do what they want to do, or it's so hard, and they're at that point where they're like, you know what, maybe I just need to like close up shop. For you to come in and overhaul and make things so streamlined, I mean,
or even those that get started but they don't know what to do, where to even start,
right,
or they're ready to scale to the next level. It's really everybody.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. I mean, no matter whether it's a coach or if it's a dog training or a healthcare office, I think you're just amazing. So with all of that said, we've gone at almost an hour. So thank you all for being here. Thanks for staying and listening. Share out to anyone that you feel needs to hear the messages that we, talked about today. And we will see you next Wednesday for Shockingly Delightful. And at 12, and Thursday for Moment of Presence at 12, same time. And remember that every day you get to choose whether you're going to have a good day or a bad day. So please choose wisely and listen to your heart on that choice. Krista, thank you. Always.
Absolutely.
Love
Thank you for having me.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.